Namaste, beloveds. This is Motherhood Wisdom once again, and I am bringing you a video on the power of change, series 3. Excuse me. Once again, I'm holding this camera, so again, bear with me if it begins to get a little shaky or anything like that. This message is going to be very long, and I'm going to break it up into the Power of Change Series 3 and go into the ABCs as I need to, and I want to keep each video under an hour. So if I seem to stop in the middle of something, understand it's because I want to keep the video under an hour, because an hour is, I don't want to say a long time, but if your attention span is not used to listening, if you are not used to meditating, if you are not used to being still, then listening to me might sound quite monotonous and seem quite pointless. But if you are a true, I don't want to use that word because there are too many true seekers, true believers, true blah, 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 out there. So I'll keep it simple. If you are here for self-inquiry, if you are here to learn, to discern, to know the power of change, to witness it, to observe it, to experience it as it is channeled and it is shared through my presence, then please take your time. Please don't rush through this information. This is not just somebody yakking at you. This is a divine, spiritual, some would say channeled message. I say it's received and given. This message is received and given by Spirit, from Spirit, by Spirit, okay? The highest frequencies are sharing with you, are inviting you to their table, are inviting you to they want me to say what Jesus said, flesh of my flesh, consume the flesh of my flesh, drink from this cup, remember this, pass this way on. That's what they're saying. So let me keep going, beloveds. There's a lot that they want to share. There's so much that is to be shared. This is a very auspicious time to exist as existence, individually and collectively. And you're all doing marvelous. Marvelous. You're all doing wonderful. Okay? Marvelous. That word has just got me, okay? So, sorry. Okay. See, the mind is trying to jump in here, so. Okay. I wrote it down because I knew there would be a lot of interference, resistance, a lot going on with this because it is so very powerful, beloveds. It all started with this phrase, this paragraph. What I woke up with and instantly felt the need to share on Facebook. Observing the power of change through the lens of observing, being seen, being watched, rather than the kind of judgment, being judged, weighed, and measured and evaluated by your own self or anyone else. Observing the power of change through the lens of being seen, of being watched, of knowing that you are observing yourself, knowing that you are watching yourself. Juxtaposed or opposed or how it used to be. You just oblivious to you. Not conscious really of yourself, of you being in the flow of consciousness itself, as consciousness itself. This is what I mean by seeing yourself, by observing yourself, by watching yourself. Okay? And you have to get good at this with yourself before you branch out to others. Okay? Master yourself. Master knowing yourself before you try to master knowing anyone else or them knowing you. Sometimes it takes many lifetimes, beloveds. And understand that you are an accumulation of those lifetimes. Okay? Being watched, you watching yourself, you observing yourself, you observing your thoughts, you observing your feelings, you observing your interaction with yourself. Are you having regrets? Are you having doubts? Are you having fears? Are you happy? Are you excited? Are you loving yourself in this moment? This is what I'm speaking of when I'm saying watching yourself, knowing yourself, observing yourself, versus judging yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not intelligent enough. I'm not educated enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not this enough, and I'm not that enough, and I'm not good enough. That's judging yourself. It doesn't come from others, beloveds. I'm talking about you. The conversations you have with you, the conversations you allow to take place within you, that you agree to, that you don't correct and say, nope. Correct it immediately. Know it. Begin to know it. When you begin to know who you are, that little it can't tell you who you're not. It can sit there and yakety yak all day. It can judge all day. It can say what it's observing all day, and you're like, no, that's not the truth. That's not how I really feel. That's not what I'm really thinking. That's a lie. I no longer need to lie to myself to feel good about myself. to feel whole, to feel holy, to feel loved, to feel I belong, to feel I'm beautiful, to feel I'm spiritual, to know my connection with all and everything, individually, collectively, to know that I am unlimited in my possibilities. I'm designed that way. And I only have to acknowledge that within myself. I only have to know that about myself to achieve that. What does that mean? To manifest that. I am a creator. I am a living womb, baby. I am a spiritual midwife. I give birth to existence. I give birth to reality. I give birth to change. That has not changed. That is spiritual. That does not change. Only the mind's influence and the feelings about the self, the spiritual self, change. Only the doubts that you allow, that you give credit to, that is emphasized or expanded by others who do not know themselves, who sit in judgment of themselves, and then who sit in judgment of you, want to tell you who you are, like they can. If they're not telling you that you are unconditional love, that you are unlimited in your abilities, that you are beautiful beyond knowing, then they're lying to you. Because you are spirit. First and foremost. Do not let anyone regulate you, micromanage you, minimize you into something from their minds, created in their image. And you bow down because they're what? They're idolized. They're icons. They represent power. What? Worldly power? How many times has that power changed hands? How is that power represented in these parcels of borders and land, powers and principalities? 1420. Wow. That's a 7. Here he go, these 7s again, beloveds. And that's funny because I'm going to get to what I wrote in 1 minute. I'm going to get there. I promise you. One of these videos will also include tarot card, 2 tarot cards. There's only 2. Okay? Like I said, I know a lot of you, your attention span isn't that great. So, there's only 2. and both come from the Medicine Woman deck. Okay, and the Seven of Stones is one of those cards that came forward to speak to us today, and I'll get into that. Let me get into everything, beloveds. Let me just bring my energies, my little hyped up self, excited self, here to share with you. Okay? Okay. And I'm going to be reading, beloved, so bear with me again, okay? I'm going to be reading and holding this. The Power of Change, Series 3. A lot of this I wrote on Facebook. It's on different posts. But I know that a lot of you are not on Facebook. And so this is for you who don't use that social media as a tool. So here we go. Observing the power of change through the lens of observing, being watched, rather than the lens of judgment, being judged, weighed, and measured and evaluated by your own self or anyone else. And another post that I did was about, I had started yawning, beloveds, uncontrollably, just yawning uncontrollably. I could not stop myself, continuous yawning. And so I remembered from a while back, a few years back, and I had shared what the spiritual significance and the metaphysical significance of yawning was. And so I went back to it because I had pushed that information aside to gain more information. And so what came forth for me as the bottom line, and if you really truly want to know, beloveds, Google it. Google yawning. Okay, Google the spiritual meaning of yawning. Google the metaphysical meaning of yawning. Either one of those. Uncontrollable yawning came as a reflex to wake you up from energetic states of conscious awareness. Uncontrollable yawning is a reflex to wake you up and to help you expand, explore your energetic states of conscious awareness. What does that mean? How many energetic states of conscious awareness do you have? Hold on just a second. I am going to pause this and close the patio doors because neighbors are talking again and I don't want it to interfere with my flow. Okay, beloveds, let's continue. Let's see. Uncontrollable yawning is a reflex to wake you up, energetic states of conscious awareness. And sorry about that, but let's see. We were speaking about the different energetic states of conscious awareness. The unconscious, the subconscious, and the conscious. These are three states. The unconscious usually happens when you're asleep. You're knocked out, you're in a coma, you're not fully there, so to speak. It's also death. Your subconscious is your between awake and asleep, kind of. So you can still pick up and hold a lot of things. It's a little bit more clearer than the unconscious. The conscious mind is more of the here and now, what you actually have to work with, what you're aware of fully. I would say we are not very good at being conscious right now. We're learning. We're coming into this age of Aquarius where we're being refilled, regenerated with spiritual knowledge, with spiritual capabilities, with spiritual reception. So we'll be able to deepen our conscious awareness. And so, with me telling you to start observing yourself consciously, start observing being conscious of your thoughts, being conscious of your feelings, being conscious more so, however, of your spiritual self, your spiritual voice, your spiritual heart, your spiritual mind, your spiritual will. Because these are the areas of which your flesh is going to test you. Okay? So you need to understand that. And you need to understand there are a couple of biblical verses, scriptural verses, that tell you to be about the armor of spiritual armor. The helmet, the shield, the breastplate, everything. Okay? You need to understand what each one of those is individually. And you need to learn how to spiritually don that. Spiritually put that on with you when you go into spiritual battle. You are all, 24/7, 365, you are in spiritual battle, beloveds. This is spiritual warfare. That's what your existence is. And you're in a spiritual warfare for the right to keep expanding your spiritual conscious awareness. Okay? And I'm going to get into that a little bit deeper later on. So let me just keep reading what I have, beloved, so I can stay on track and not... I notice that I repeat a lot of information. I say a lot. So let me work on that. I'm observing that within myself. I'm becoming more conscious of it. And so I'll work on it a little bit more. Like I said, okay, I'm starting to fidget. Advice. This was another post that I posted today. I woke up with this and I'm just like, okay, mama. And I just posted. And when I got on and I saw other people, some other of my friends, Facebook friends post, and I noticed that they are starting to really observe themselves without judgment. And that just makes my heart so glad. It just brings joy to me to observe others observing themselves without judgment, being more free with themselves and sharing that freeness. Okay? That's important for us to see and for us to know. And I'll get into why a little bit later. Advice equals adding, subtracting, multiplying, division, and adding to your physical vices. Advice. Advice. Adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, and adding to your physical vices. Vices equal values. Values equal virtues. What is your price? What are you worth? Are you cheap or are you priceless? Do you know KNOW and NO, the difference of your spiritual sum total? Okay, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the self, your spiritual self, your highest self, that highest aspect of you, the highest truth of you. How do you rank it? How do you weigh it? How do you measure it? What is it worth? Is it cheap? Did you come by it cheaply? Do you give it away cheaply? Is its vices, its addictions and attachments and needs, desires and wants, are they for cheap thrills? Are they cheap? Or are they priceless? Are they eternal? Are they unconditional love based, backed, bound? This is what Spirit is having me share with this Power of Change series. This is the advice of observing yourself, for self-inquiry. Who am I? Why am I? Where am I? How am I here? What is my purpose? This is the answer. Observe existence within you. Listen to the highest wisdom, spiritual wisdom that speaks to you, that has been here before there was a beginning of manifestation, that was conscious before subconscious and unconscious, okay? Be aware of the advice, adding to your vices. I shared what vices are on my Facebook page. I asked you to Google it. Vices, VICES, vices. Learn about them because it pertains to you. I know what my vices are. Mine aren't necessarily yours. Mine aren't necessarily related to yours, but mine will mirror yours. We will reflect each other in our vices. That's why the other universal laws are in existence. We attract what we want to learn from, what we want to know. Vices equal values. What are values? That's another word you need to look up. Don't just think you know. Oh, I know what that means. Look it up. You're worth that much. You're worth deepening, expanding your spiritual conscious awareness. If it's some song or some lyrics or something else about a star or whatever, you have no hesitation grabbing your phone and Googling it or looking it up. But this is for you. This is going to benefit you. This is about you. Okay? This is not about somebody acting and getting paid and having a camera observe them so you can observe them acting a certain way from a script. Even though half of them want to call it reality, if you've got a camera there and there's editing going on, that's not reality, baby. That's not reality. That's not real. That's Memorex, as the old school would call it. Know your values. And make sure your values truly represent you. And understand, beloveds, the best thing you could do is to be modest. We all have our shadow aspects that want to be heard, that want to be seen, that wants to be observed, that want to be validated. I am not saying by any means kill your shadows, deny your shadows. That's not what I'm saying. Please don't get it twisted. I'm saying baby steps. I'm saying even your shadows and your shadow consciousness, as limited as it may be or as low as it may be, can rise, can ascend, can expand, because it too is spirit. So I'm not this is not judgment. So please don't take it that way. Your vices, your values, and your virtues. These are your spiritual signatures. These are the words that are coming up are cheat codes. Your notes, okay, on existence, on how to better survive, on how to better exist, on how to stay free from dis-ease and destruction. And beloveds, this is coming from BC and AD, okay? And all is relevant in this moment. In this now moment, all is relevant. So be very clear about what I am speaking of, about what you are hearing, about what you are tuning into. This is spiritual frequencies. This is what it feels like. This is what it sounds like. And if it seems familiar to you, that means you're waking up to that essence within yourself. And you're recognizing it. And you're recognizing the truth of it and its value. And you're going to use that to benefit yourself. That's not selfishness. That's unconditional love. That's priceless. You know the cheap version of yourself. You sacrificed that 1,000,000 times. You've had it taken. You've had it disfigured, dismantled, abused. You know the cheap part of you. the part that's not enough, the ungrateful part, the part that's not smart, the part that just needs to shut up, the part that just needs to hide, just needs to be quiet. I'm not talking about the parts you resent. I'm talking about the parts that you need to get to know intimately, because it is the truth of who you are as a spiritual being, not just your flesh that hurts and hungers and needs and thinks this and feels that. No, that's not what I'm speaking about. Let's keep moving forward, beloveds. Simple complications equal universal laws of paradox, universal laws of polarity. Let's keep it, let's go a little bit slower. Simple complications, that within itself is an oxymoron, is a paradox, is a puzzle. Simple complications. You are simply complicated, beloveds. When I was younger and I would come up with all these little avatars and all these little bios to describe myself, and I'm complicated. I'm complex. I'm simply complex. I'm a very simple being, but I'm very complex. What the hell does that mean? It's a paradox. I am a paradox. I am all and nothing all at the same time. And I'm expanding upon that knowledge. It's just that simple. And it's just that complex. And it's just that complicated. And I'm capable and able. Okay? And so are you. Simple complications equal universal laws of paradox. So when you come across situations, circumstances, people, and places that don't add up, take into account the law of paradox, the universal law of paradox. That's why I keep saying to you, beloveds, know the universal laws. Get to studying. These are the forces that govern your life. These are the forces that govern existence. These are not, you stop at a stop sign, this is green, this is a red light, this is what you do. This is like that. But these are what holds the universe in place. These are way more powerful than the human laws that you know. This is what governs spiritual existence, even in the physical realm, even in the multiverses, baby. Okay? So learn your universal laws. Learn what they mean to you as a spiritual being, as a living soul. You are regulated only by those laws, the universal laws. Okay? Those are the highest laws that there are. And when you break them or don't fulfill them or go shortcutting around them, you suffer the consequences. And you can sit there and say, I didn't know. Well, it's time to expand your conscious awareness, isn't it? Sit down and listen and get to know yourself. Put the phone down. Turn the TV off. Turn the music off. All that yep has an agenda. That agenda is distraction. To distract you from knowing yourself. Top and bottom line right there. Period. And when you give into it, you're taking time, as we know time. You're taking it away from yourself. So you're cheating yourself. You're cheating on yourself with the world. Okay? Basically. You're cheating on yourself with this fake illusion stuff. When the real deal is in here. Speaking to you continuously. Trying to communicate to you, but you're more receptive to the outside shit. Because that's how you have become programmed. And that's what you are conditioned to do. It's not about instincts and intellect. We have become so civilized that we can't even stand the smell of ourselves. I was watching television the other day and I saw an ad for feminine hygiene products that's above and beyond, okay? And it's just, a woman's body is naturally moist. It's self-cleaning, okay? The odors there are natural. A woman of ancestral women knew when they were sick or they were going to be sick by the odor of themselves, okay? By the odor between their legs, by the odor up under their arms. That odor told them about how much bacteria is there and if it's good bacteria or if it's bad bacteria, if it's balanced or unbalanced. That's what the odor is for. If there's a hormonal imbalance, that's what the odor is for. It serves a purpose. Yes, I know it's offensive to a lot of civilized people. But if you were not so civilized, it would be how you would identify healthy or unhealthy, spiritual or not spiritual. Not so much clean or unclean, but there are different odors that activate different parts of your senses, beloveds. And we have become so used to neutralizing odor and spraying this chemical and spraying that chemical and using this and using that until we are eviscerating that part of ourselves, that way of knowing. Sense of smell is the oldest. Think about it. That was deep, mama. Okay. I did not plan on saying all of that, but okay. Simple complications Universal law of paradox. Universal laws of polarity. Equal birth, death, and rebirth. States of spiritual conscious awareness. Let's keep it there for a moment, beloveds. Many of you, if you followed me on Facebook for a while, or if you're aware of my Blog Talk Radio show, you know I do shows at one point in my healing. I did shows, and I have a page, Facebook page, called Honeycomb Conversations. And that page is very specific. It's about spiritual sexuality. It's about knowing yourself through your sexuality. Okay? It's just that simple. It's not about positions. It's not about right and wrong. It's not about good pussy and good dick. It's not about how to do this and do that. It's about how to be conscious, spiritually conscious of yourself as a sexual being. That was my intent and purpose. And in that and on that page, there's a lot of information that can still be seen there, because I shared it for that reason. There's still a lot of information on Blog Talk Radio, and it'll have Honeycomb Conversation in front of it. This information, I'm speaking specifically about the vagina, the yoni. Okay, but I don't want to leave out the masculine, the lingam, the penis. It too has its own odor. It too has its own smell. A woman, a healthy, spiritually mature, wise woman can know the condition of the health and the spirit of her man simply by the smell of his sex, simply by the taste of him. This is ancient knowledge. This is not the perfume it all away, smell like roses kind of intimacy that I'm speaking of. I'm speaking of the real, where sex was about knowing someone intimately, and that involved their odor, their body odor, the thickness of the juices, the thickness of the semen, the thickness of the saliva in their mouths when you kissed, when you tasted their skin, the skin on their necks, the amount of salt, the smell. A mama knows her baby is sick by its smell. And I'm not talking about just his poop. We have gotten so far away from our instincts. I'm not saying everybody needs to walk around funky, beloveds. That's not what I'm saying. Believe me, that's not. But what I am saying is that you need to know yourself. Outside of washing everything away. You need to be conscious of every aspect of you. every inch of you, inside and out. This is how you know yourself. This is how you keep yourself healthy. This is how you unconditionally love yourself, and this is how you unconditionally love others, because you're unconditionally loving yourself. Let me keep going, beloveds. The birth, death, and rebirth. There we go. The odors, beloveds, come from the birth, death, and rebirth of cells. Your body cells. Okay? That's what the smell comes from. It's not something, this is not taught to us in the Western society. Okay? It's not taught to us in the Western society. It's not taught anymore in this age. I'll put it like that. How important it is to, how important your sense of smell is. Okay? And I want you to, I'm going to take it further. They want me to take it further by saying, think about the meats you buy in the grocery store. Those meats have, the smell has been doctored. The color has been doctored. And when I said doctored, it's been messed with, it's been touched, it's been fixed, it's been enhanced, it's been changed. See, we're talking about the power of change. Look at everything that is changing. Look at why it changes. Look at what the effects that the changes have upon you, upon your body odors, upon your body senses, upon yourself. Again, this is not about judgment. This is about observation. Another thing that came up for me is the Egyptian Phoenix spiritual conscious concepts of the soul. That's another thing for you to research. Again, that too is birth, death, and rebirth. That involves the element of fire and also of air. It also involves the Egyptian concept of soul as the living soul and in the afterlife. Okay? It's different. It came up for me today because the Egyptian version of the phoenix is so much deeper and so different than the Greek version. The Egyptian version is older. The Greek version has an agenda to push. Okay? The Greek version will blend in more with the Constantine and all of that kind of philosophy. Okay? Doctrine, religion of the soul. I'm speaking of the soul. I'm not talking about just politics, although right now, today, what are we talking about in America? The soul of democracy. The bird is an eagle. The Egyptian eagle is a phoenix. Baby, they're getting deep. Okay, this video is at almost at an hour, beloved. And like I said so much. So much has come through, but there's so much more to come through. So I'm going to end this video now, and this will be the Power of Change Series 3A. And as I end this, I will begin the Power of Change Series 3B. So let's get to it. Love you. Thank you for tuning in. This is Mother with Wisdom. You can find me on Facebook, and you can find me on Blog Talk Radio Show. And I'm sure if you Google Mother with Wisdom, something will come up and you can find me. Thank you.